Today I'm doing a vodka stripping run so that I can make other things. I have sprung a leak at the moment, so I've had to use the old hillbilly technique of using flour paste to seal the crack. Well, not a crack, but it's just loose a little bit. I'll tighten it up after the run. So what I'm doing here, this has been distilling now for 3 hours and I'm already at 3 litres, which is pretty crazy. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to mark this as poison because it's still got the heads inside it, and it's going to have the tails inside it as well. So tomorrow I'm going to do a spirit run. So this is called the stripping run. The next I'm going to do a spirit run. The way I've got this condenser, I don't even know what you call this condenser, I just call it a baked bean tin condenser. The condenser inside is running at 85 degrees, which is what it should be. The water is coming out as fast as I can make it without cracking this condenser here that's made out of copper. So between the water speed and the voltage that I'm running at, so normally I would run at 152 volts to heat and 146 volts to run. At the moment I'm running a bit faster because I know I'm going to be doing a spirit run tomorrow, so it's at 151 volts. So basically this, whatever comes out of this tube is always going to be about 60% because of the way I've got it tuned. I don't understand why people keep saying, oh, just run it until it gets down to 30% or run it down until it gets 20%. The percentage that comes out of this tube has zero reference to what's in your still. What's coming out of here is based on how hard you're running it and your water speed. So if you say, oh, run it down to 30%, if it maxes out at 60% alcohol here and there's nothing left for this to give, you can run it all day long until hell freezes over. There is no more alcohol left in your still. So what you are then running is water. And if you put your temperature up to get more out, all you're doing is running water. So this philosophy of running things to 30% is quite frankly garbage, because if it's not in the still to give, it's not in the still to give. So here we are 4 hours later, no, 3.5 hours later, and I'm at 3.5 litres. Now surely, as they say, I should be running low numbers out of that pipe, correct? Because it would get lower and lower and lower, as they say, and I say absolute garbage. It's all down to how you're using a condenser, how much energy you're putting into the still, how much steam you're creating. You're not here to make steam, you're here to make alcohol. So don't have it bubbling and roaring away, because all you're doing is making water. So tame down your speed and cool it down. We're here to make booze, we're not here to make water. So 3.5 hours later, I'm 3.5 litres for a 25 litre still. So if the directions from everybody else is correct and I should be running lower and lower numbers, then have a look at this. And look at this. 70%. So what does that tell you? It's all about the tuning. It has nothing to do with what's left in the still. My still will run between 60 and 70% alcohol depending on how much power I'm putting into it. I run the condenser flat out all the time, and it will never ever drop below 60%, but the drips coming out of the pipe will get slower and slower and slower to the point where it's so slow it's not worth running. So the percentage for my still does not drop, and it's not a reflux still, but it'll stop dripping, but it'll still give you high quality booze. There you go, there's the myth dispelled. If somebody says to you that they're making 30% alcohol coming out of the spout, that tells me they're making 70% water. So turn your speed down, because there's no point making water. Myth dispelled, or in this case, distilled. So once again we're here and it's 4 litres now, so it's about 45 minutes later. I am actually running this stripping run a bit faster than normal, but for some strange reason it's still running 60%. That's because I've tuned it that way, and I'm not having any tails smell. So my theory, and I firmly stand on this, tails comes from the heating process in the beginning. If you are creating a Maillard reaction around the edges of your element, then that's going to turn brown and it's going to keep recycling in your water for the next 4 to 5 hours. Why would you want that? So heat slow, very slow, and you won't get the tails in the beginning, so therefore they don't come out the spout at the end. So I'm at 4 litres now, we're still running, and I still haven't struck any tail smell. And if you know what tail smell smells like, it's like a wet old dishcloth that you've just stuck in the microwave. It's disgusting. So there we go, I'm gathering the last drips at the moment. You can see it's becoming pretty painful. It's still testing at 70% ABV. We're at 4 litres in total distillation, and now we're just catching the last drips. So the proof is in the pudding, because if you look up here, the condenser temperature hasn't left 85 to 86 degrees in the last 4 hours. So the condenser has been running mainly at 85 the entire time. The boiling temperature of the still has gone up, so I have adjusted it by about 9 volts. That's about it. So it's still running very, very slow, and the proof is in the pudding because I'm getting 70% alcohol the entire time, and then the drips get slower and slower, just as I predicted.